So let's...
All right, so first of all, obviously go check out Chipsa's channel and go sub to it if you haven't.
People, okay, and this is why Widowmaker's overpowered, and this is why Doomfist is underpowered. This meta...
Hey, no, listen, it's fine. Most of that's on me too, because I said something I shouldn't have. It's all good though, bud. I appreciate the 5. Thank you.
Right now, if you could design a meta in the current state of the game, this might be the worst meta in the history of Overwatch for a Widowmaker. Like, this might be, if you could physically design a meta from scratch, this might be the worst meta for Widowmaker ever. And she has a higher pick rate than Doomfist.
Yeah.
And if you could design a meta, this is almost the best meta in the history of Overwatch that you could design for Doomfist. And he's played less than Widow. That's my point. Rush, Comp, and Dive Comp should be the heroes that Doomfist is viable in. But he's not.
And I'm not sure where he's going to go with this, but in my opinion, the reason why he's not is specifically because of Baptiste. Well, not specifically because of Baptiste, but Bap makes it so much worse. He's a hero that you can't really positional punish because of the exo boots. And most importantly, Doomfist gets value from burst impact, right? And immortality field as an ability 100% counters burst impact immediately. So like, and again, like, I'm not sure if that's where he's going to go with this, but like my initial thoughts after hearing that, it's like Bap just, it's Bap because you can't long range heal Doomfist. He's probably going to talk about how bad his ult is. His ult is awful. But you know, he's right so far. Like this should be the worst meta for Widowmaker being Rush, like, or Dive, right? But she's still picked more than Doom because Doom's just like, his kit's just in a very weird spot, in my opinion. But I'll let him continue. But he's right, though.
That's my point I'm trying to make here, guys. Like, this meta, if you look at the game, assuming every hero is balanced, Doomfist's pick rate should be in the top 10. Widowmaker's pick rate should be here. And it's not.
Because she's more consistent.
Like,
in Overwatch League and Pro Play, and what the heroes that are the most consistent are always the heroes that have dominated Pro Play. The consistency is number one.
So if you factor out spam, because spam does get played, so if you just take out, like, I guess like few of these heroes, like, what heroes are playing spam? Mostly it's like Ashe, Echo, and you can play like Sigma as well. I think do you run like Sigma Ball in spam?
Yeah.
So it looks like spam's being played around, I would say, spam is being played around 20% of the time.
Map dependent, yeah.
And then I would say Dive is being played around 35% of the time, and Rush is being played around 35% of the time. And then anything else, any of the
turn it up some.
Played like the last like 10%, right? Or like the last 5%, I should say, right? So this is about 15% play rate of spam. And this combines at 70%, right?
Okay.
So we should give Doom 25 HP buff? No. Okay. If you want to make Doomfist viable, you need to make his ult an actual ultimate ability that can actually get
Thank
kills.
you.
You need to make
Thank
it not
you.
a part of your
Thank you.
rotational abilities that will actually make it so that, like, don't make it a get out of jail free card. Make it a high risk, high reward, crazy high damage ult. Make it.
He's so right. Like, and you've seen me complaining about this too, and I was really hoping he was going to mention this. Like, Doomfist's ult is fucking awful. It is actually awful. Like, you cannot, especially with McCree being better now and picked more with more health, not only could, like, you had trouble killing before, but that 25 extra HP, like, dude, I have so many clips of me landing, like, on a player with Doomfist ult, and they just fucking walk it off. Like, Doomfist is essentially a character, an offensive character without an offensive ult. Like, there's just, like, in a game where ultimates are that important, right? Like, even if you play everything properly with Doomfist ult, you won't get value for it. Like, I'll play a couple clips right now. Obviously, I'll go back and edit this later. But, like, you can't fucking kill anything. Like, Devo Remake has a higher kill radius than Doomfist ult. Devo Remake, right? And I get that Doomfist is a hero that people don't like. So a couple suggestions that I've had to, like, make sure that he still has fair play, because Doomfist ult is one of the most blockable ults in the game. If you put a Zarya bubble on it or a shield on it, you can completely block the entire radius of the ult. There are very few ults that are like that, right? So a couple things would be good for Doom ult. One, make him land faster, because I understand that a long time ago it was hell for supports when a Doomfist would come and use his ult because it was almost like a free kill on like a Zen and stuff like that. So if we don't want that, a way to fix it now would be to make him land faster, right? Because right now it's so, if the kill box is so small, he doesn't need to have that long of a time to like actually land. Like give me a fair chance to get kills, right? If I bait cooldowns properly, do all these things properly, like the ult is just soft. It's really, really soft. Or you can give him a slight damage multiplier based on how many players he hits with the meteor strike. The same, like it's kind of like the inverse of ball shields, right? Like if I land as Doomfist and I baited cooldowns and there are 3 people in my ult, say my ult would do a bonus like 25 damage per player I land on. That way, when you land it offensively properly and you do it well, you actually have the damage to kill something. Because right now you just don't, and it makes playing the hero fucking impossible. And you guys have seen me when I'm playing Doomfist. It's like my ult is just fucking useless. It's especially with characters getting health buffs and like more utility buffs and immortality field being in the game. Like you can't make plays with a fucking ultimate. It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. So I don't know, man. And maybe to compensate for that, if Doom gets too strong, you take power away from his core abilities and put him into speed so that like the flashy Doom players can make plays. You can play more like a Genji instead of like a one-shot punch bot kind of thing. But yeah, back to Chipsa. He is dead right about the ultimate. It needs to get changed. I've been tweeting about this for a while.
Dude, make the outer circle damage start at 250 or start at 300. Right now, it's a... Instead of start at 300.
Let's see this. Yeah. Yeah, look at this kill zone is awful. It's not even a kill zone. It's just a fucking joke. Like to kill a McCree who has a roll that can just roll away, assuming you haven't forced the immortality field, assuming you haven't forced Zarya bubbles, assuming they don't have a shield there. Like it's just insane, man. Like you can't. It's not even an ultimate. It's just a joke.
300. Right now, it's a. Instead of using 2 cooldowns to go in, I can use 3 cooldowns to go in and then use my ult to get out. That's what Doomfist's ult is now. But that just kills under one shot. So, first things first. If you look at the state of old Doomfist ult, okay, I'm gonna check this shit.
It was crazy. It was OP.
Again,
it was for sure OP.
What Tracer needs is a 20% increase in the rate at which her ult builds, or 20% decrease, sorry, in the rate at which her ult builds. Her ult needs to build a little bit slower, because her ult's a little bit overpowered for how fast it builds. Just a little bit. And then McCree needs 25 less HP.
Okay.
By the way, the fact that the dev team... You remember that April Fool's patch?
Yeah, the one that was better than the ones they've been doing recently?
Patch?
Yeah.
They thought it was a good idea to buff D.Va. And not only did they buff D.Va... They actually
made her unkillable
by a lot. They increased their flight duration from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. Like, I was like... D.Va was one of those heroes that when she wasn't played, I was like, whatever you do, do not buff D.Va. D.Va is already overpowered, and you need to not buff her even more. And D.Va is fucking disgustingly overpowered. It's so...
He's right. He's right. He's before he says more, I hope he mentions the remake. But the most important thing is the armor. Like, they've given her... They basically Overwatch 2 single tank stats. Like if playing Hanzo right now, you can't fucking kill D.Va. You can't. You literally cannot punish the player. And I've talked about this. I might make an honest rant about Hanzo, like similar to this, where he's suffering from the same problem as Doomfist is, where like his ult is useless now because of immortality field, and these heroes that you used to be able to punish have been power crept again, and you can't. So let him continue to talk.
Crazy actually. And then Brig, Brig has a higher pick rate than BAP, says a lot as well. Like they really need to redesign this hero. I mean, here's the problem.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that Brig is still one of the best heroes in the game, despite being mechanically the easiest? Wow. I wonder who's been saying this for 2 fucking years, and everyone calls him crazy when he mentions it. Who would have guessed?
Look at the top 3 most picked supports.
It's because of her consistency, by the way. She can consistently do that very easily, which is why she's OP. That's been my entire point the whole time. You shouldn't be able to do that much with that little requirement.
BAP, Lucio, they're all AoE healers. Again, AoE healing is a problem that they haven't addressed, and I don't think that they know how to address.
You have to lower the values if it's AoE.
I'm not. I mean, first things first, rank meta is a trickle down from AoE meta. But I agree, it's not too much. It's not too relevant. But I just think it's interesting. to look at. I think that, and here's the thing.
Welcome to the bag of chips, my dog.
Here's the thing. Doomfist is a weaker hero in solo queue than he is in pro play. No question.
Absolutely
Because
right.
Doomfist is a hero you need your team
Resources.
to play around.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in solo queue. It happens more in pro play.
Absolutely.
Widowmaker's a stronger hero in rank than she is in pro play. And Widowmaker's a stronger hero in pro play than Doomfist is right now.
Yeah.
So that discrepancy only gets wider.
He's right.
So, and as for the
Listen, I know people meme about Chipsa a lot, but he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Like he is a smart player. I know like everyone's like Chipsa meme, like bench room or whatever. Like, but this dude knows what the fuck he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about.
intake about May, I do agree. I think that May, I'm really happy with the state of May. Why did I start crying there? I'm really happy with the state of May because I think that May is actually a healthy hero for the game. Or at least maybe not right now.
I think without her
but I think
freeze,
that
yes.
his fundamental
Without her freeze, yes, I
design
agree.
isn't necessarily unhealthy. The problem I have with May is that her left click slow and her ult slow is a little bit too strong.
This kid
But
does not
I think the
miss.
idea that you can build a great wall
He does not
to
miss.
zone people off, I think is a fucking cool mechanic. I think it's
He
really
doesn't
interesting.
miss.
The state of society is pushing Chipsa. Yeah, that's true. I look at this, and there's a few glaring heroes that need nerfs. Like Brig needs a nerf.
Yep.
I think Bat needs a nerf.
Yep.
McCree needs a nerf. You could
Yep.
argue Tracer needs a nerf, but I don't hate Tracer being a really high pick rate because I think she's actually a healthy hero for the game.
Yep.
High skill cap, decent degree of counterplay. All you need to do with Tracer is just nerf her ult a little bit because I think her ult's a little bit overpowered.
Yep.
What about Zen? Zen's super overpowered. Again, if you can design a meta, this is like the worst meta in history for Zen in terms of a design perspective. Zen should never be viable in this meta ever, and Zen has a 20% pick rate. That shows how broken he is as a hero.
Well, it shows.
You don't think this-
I think what it shows. Yeah, I think he's right there. Like, I think his abilities are strong, right? And if you can create a poke comp, Zen is just so fucking good. Like, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but like it is absolutely telling that we are in a rush meta, mostly in the league, and Zenyatta has a pick rate 5 times Doomfist. And I know Doomfist is supposed to be a niche character, but like if we could make him healthier or take him in a healthier way, I think that'd be better because he's right. Like it doesn't really make that much sense that a hero that should be good in rush and dive we are in a rush meta and the poke heroes are all still better than him.
Zen's broken, you don't understand the game. Why is Zen broken? Zen has the highest DPS output in the game of almost any hero in the game outside of, I think that Pharah has a higher DPS impact,
Yeah.
maybe, and Bastion, assuming Bastion can play. He has one of the best ults in the game.
Yeah.
He has an incredibly good 1v1
Discord's
pool.
crazy
he has
too.
Infinite range, crazy high pick potential, and decent
He's
strong,
consistent.
like, single target healing.
He's also
Really-
consistent.
Really good ability to make your flank.
But he does have a drop off, which is why I'm like more so okay with it. I'm not saying
Because what
Zen's a
you have to
broken
do is
hero.
that every single piece of damage that's done by the Discord orb, you have to factor in is that Zen's damage. That's damage that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the Discord orb. 20% of like everyone's damage basically goes to Zen. Why is Hog bad in the current meta? Is he underpowered? Hog's not underpowered right now. Hog's in a fine spot, balance wise.
I agree.
I think Hog needs a rework or a redesign.
I agree.
I think the Hog's design is horrible.
The take a breather change was so dumb. You should not be able to move and take a
Again,
breather.
this
He
is
should be
terrible
high
meta for
damage,
Hog.
like
Like,
high
really, really
damage,
bad
but
meta
like
for Hog.
like low mobility. Like
What
giving
I
him
think that
mobility
they
is
need
so
to do
dumb.
Is that they need to make his hook a lower cooldown, more utility. Like I saw the option of like you could hold your hook and then your teammates click it like a thresh land. That'd be fucking cool.
Oh shit.
And they just reduce his damage. If you can make it so Hog can't one shot with his combo anymore, then
He'll be
and
useless.
redesign him and balance him around that, give him crazy high buffs because of that. Be a
You'd
much
have to
better hero.
compensate a lot.
Then he's more of like I'm gonna hook you into my team and my team is gonna kill you, rather than I'm gonna flank like an idiot and hook you and one shot you.
Yeah, okay. That would be better.
That's why
That would make him
Hog's a
play
rank
more like
hero
an
right
off
now.
tank.
Pharah's in a fine spot right now. You look at Pharah's pick rate, and you look at this and say, yeah, I mean Pharah shouldn't ever be played right now. Like you look at Genji. Genji should be played. Should be played.
Because Genji's
This is the
awful.
the sign that a hero's underpowered is that if the meta theoretically works for them, like the meta right now,
This is a really,
Like-
really smart take.
honestly, like for real, like Genji should be meta. It's like half die.
The problem is he's absolutely right. The problem is with Genji is that it's so unfortunate because Genji is one of the most well-designed. I've said this for years. Whenever Genji is not a throw pick and he's just in the middle of the pack, no matter what the meta is and ranked, the game's in a good spot because Genji's damage hasn't been changed since launch. But if Genji struggles to compete in this day and age of the game, then something's wrong. Like either healing's too strong or health pools are too high or something like that. Like right now, like Genji's damage literally is just not enough. His cooldowns are too high. Doomfist punches a 4-second cooldown, dash is 8. Deflect, which is not a strong ability, is like a 6 or 7 second cooldown when it should be 4 or 5. Like he just can't compete at all. Right? And so we have one of the most unique, fun design characters in the game not being picked at all because he can't compete with Power Creep D.Va. Like, how is Genji supposed to kill a D.Va ever? She's 600 health, 300 of that armor. There's no fucking way a Genji has a single chance at killing a fucking D.Va or a McCree for that matter now. Like, it is just sad that Genji has just been left in the dust, and the way to fix it, courtesy of Seagull, is to make it so Blade can't be damage boosted, but you buff his mid-fight so that he actually has a chance to compete with all these power-crept heroes. Like, you can reduce deflex cooldown, reduce Dash's cooldown, fuck it at this point. Like, if we're just power-creeping every hero in the game again, fuck it, buff Genji so he can compete. And then, I don't know, like... We'll see on that. I still don't even think Nanoblade would be that bad because the damage boost would, or the damage resistance would help him. But he needs to be able to do something in the mid fight. And Chipsa is absolutely right. This is Genji should be pretty decent here, but he's worse than fucking every other hero in the game. It's silly.
Dive. Like half of the comps is like fucking Zarya, Winston, dive. Absolutely, Genji should be fine in this meta.
Yeah.
So he should be up around like sort of where Zen.
But he sucks because they've left him in the dust.
When an individual hero is overpowered, in my opinion, the sign of whether a hero is overpowered or underpowered is how strong are they. If you look into the game at more of a one-dimensional level, you look what comps are meta. Rush. Generally, it's rush and dive, like double bubble and rush.
Yeah.
Are the two comps right now that are really meta.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think double shield's right around the corner too, which is scary.
You just have to look at the hero. Like what meta is best for Genji? What meta is best for Reaper? Reaper is best in a DPS and in a rush meta. Mm-hmm. Genji is best in a dive meta. And we're in a dive and / rush meta, and both these heroes are still unplayable. That's a sign of bad things.
I will say this. I think Reaper is much more playable than Genji is. I think Reaper, I don't know if many AL teams have like really tried Reaper's playstyle. Like I don't know, to be honest with you. I think he's definitely in a better spot than Genji. Map dependent, of course. But I think Reaper's really being gate kept by D.Va, and his damage changes. Because his damage changes when they nerf his damage. It made him harder to play in low ranks, and like the skill ceiling of him went lower because his output was lower. And if the output was a bit higher, it'd be pretty cracked still. But we'll see.
In my opinion, that's a bad sign. Again, Doomfist really, really strong hero in Rush. But yeah,
absolute trash hero.
So-called like of this, like let's say top everything up to May. I think that the heroes that don't need changes. I think D.Va's okay. I think that Lucio is okay.
Yeah.
I think Ryan, Winston, Anna, Zarya, May are all okay. I think that
D.Va needs to get nerfed.
These four heroes all
Slightly.
need a slight nerf. Maybe D.Va needs a nerf as well, but
yep.
I don't think she needs a nerf.
I think maybe a little bit to the armor.
25 less HP. Bat needs a rework, or a massive nerf. Brig needs a rework as well, and Tracer needs 20%. Tracer needs her ult to feel 20% slower than it does right now.
Maybe 15.
So that if you actually miss your pulse bomb, you're actually punished for it. That's just my opinion.
Maybe 15. I don't know, 20.
Than that, you could argue that Ryan might need a nerf, but I don't think that Ryan needs a nerf.
I don't think so either.
Ryan's in a fine spot. And then honestly, like you have these heroes here that strike me as more problematic. I think
Ashe
needs a nerf.
I think she needs a nerf too.
And I think the ball needs a nerf.
Yeah.
Because these heroes.
See, so where he's gonna go with this is like these heroes are like crept like. I think Ashe definitely does. Zen I'm unsure about. Maybe. Ball will once we get the other shit tuned down. Then Ball will get a nerf, and I think Sigma does. Sigma needs a full-on change too because it's bullshit. Sigma has the same problem as Brig, where like they can do so much at once. Like you should not be able to shield and shoot at the same time, though at his capacity, in my opinion. So the character needs to be worked so that he's not able to shoot and shield together. It's because it's dumb. But he needs to be viable when we change him to do that. So like you would have to compensate somewhere, I believe, but I'm not positive. But it's just a dumb. It takes away from the chess of the game when one hero can just shut you down by being picked. It's stupid.
Shouldn't get a fucking shred of playtime in the current state of the game, and yet they do. They get a lot of playtime. Okay, chat. Enough talk.
All right, so closing thoughts. Make sure, first of all, you go check out Chipsa's channel. So people meme about Chipsa a lot, but he's a very smart player, and pretty much everything he said there was on the money. I think he's, like, for the most part, right. He's definitely right about Doomfist. Doomfist is in a fucking awful state right now. And I personally think the root cause that his ult is garbage. Like, if you buff D.Va's health, you buff McCree's health, you make BAP meta, Doom ult is just fucking useless because it's so easy to counter it with the AoE healing, the bigger health pools. Like, it already had a very small kill box since when it got nerfed. I'm going to pause Q for a sec. It already had a really small hitbox when it got nerfed. So the fact that it takes forever to land, and even when you do land, like, you have, like, no chance of killing anyone. Even if you're nanoed, like, you still struggle. So his ult needs to actually be an ult that can get kills. The way you can do that is you can give him a damage ramp based on how many players you hit by, like, maybe 25 to 30 damage a player. That way it doesn't change too much because it is a very counterable ult. Like, Doom ult is very easy to counter, especially with the options you have in the game now. If people say that it's too strong and you can't counter it, you're just bad because bubbles, shields, immortality field, McCree roll away, May ice block, like, so many things in the game can counter Doom ult. So it's really not that strong of an ult. 2, I think it really hurts him when BAP is played over Ana. Because BAP, like, not only, like, does Doomfist lose his burst healing that can keep him up in fights that it, like, you know, from range, because you have a BAP instead of an Ana, but the other team also can just commit the drone, which is good at countering burst impact, which is Doomfist's entire kit. So if your hero's only good for fucking forcing a broken ability on the other team and then getting out, then it's not worth playing the character because you could just pick another DPS hero and get value from shooting them from distance, right? And actually get kills before they can put the drone down and shit like that. So it's not worth picking Doom. That combined with the fact his ult sucks has just made the hero obsolete, which is unfortunate. So yeah, Chips was right.